Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, episode number 60. This is the transfer special. Before we get our transfers back on the Friday, there's no Fergie today. He's on a gallivant up into Bonnie, Scotland. So it's just the three of us. Me, Tony. Ben, are you there, Ben?
I'm here, mate. How are you?
All good, mate. And James, are you there?
I'm here, Tony.
So just the three of us for this transfer special tonight. Hopefully Fergie's not getting too drunk up there. Big shout out to our new patrons this month. Martin Bratley, Mark Taveras, Stephen Holt, Jack Curry, Frank at FF Stuff, and the one and only Robert Williams. Loving Angels instead and all that. Also, a big shout out this week goes to Matt Woolley, who's I know he's an avid listener of the Dream Team Tonic podcast, and he's currently sat in position number one in the whole thing. So, really well done, Matt, and we're happy to have you listening, mate. I'm glad we're being of help to you. Hopefully, you can keep it up, mate. Big announcement this week was the Patreon Cup. We currently got 22 entries so far, which seems to be climbing. It's going to be a great little tournament, group stage, and then into a knockout. £50 to the winner and a trophy, £25 to the runner-up. Should be a good laugh, especially when we all start getting head-to-head, and should be good. So, I mean, entry, if you join the Patreon at patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic, have a look on there. If you join, it does give you entry into the cup competition. That's going to be done, though, before the 5th of March, so we can get all the groups drawn on the next podcast. There'll be a live draw. I say live, it'll be on the podcast, but it will be done live for us. Old-fashioned bits of paper, write out with your ball number on. So that should be fun. Hopefully you can get involved. And like I say, it's only £3 entry, £3 monthly fee, cheaper than a coffee at a certain establishment. Yeah, so on with tonight's show. We've got the team reviews. We've got lots of questions. Rate my teams coming in this week. So we best get cracking. Ben, you're first up this week, mate. How did your team do?
62 points. It's quite a good score. 1,815 points now in total. I'm sitting around 420th overall. No transfers this week. So I've got Lloris in goal for 5 points. Van Dijk 8, Robertson 8, Cancelo 13, Starman, Alexander Arnold 7, Bernardo Silva 3 points, De Bruyne 3 points, Bowen and Sterling blank, Kane 15 points, goal, assist and Starman, and Salah blanco.
Back line show, that, isn't it?
Hey?
Look at all them points at that back line.
Yeah. Nice back line. The other week, last week, it was all up front, weren't it?
Yeah.
All the points.
Yeah, it's all gone back to the back. James, how'd you get on, mate?
I've got one less point than Ben, 61. I also had some good returns at the back. Edison got me 4, Trent 7, Robbo 8, Cancelo 13, Rudiger 8. In midfield, Bowen got me 0, Bilver got me 3, KDB got me 3. My new recruit for Moira, Luis Diaz, got me 0, but high hopes for him. Up front, Harry Kane 15, Mohamed Salah 0. Okay. So yeah, not bad. My last 2 transfers have been pretty successful, I'd say. So I brought in Diaz. Well, sorry, I'm hoping Diaz will come off, but obviously Rudiger's done me quite well since I've got him in. So yeah, not too bad. How'd you get on, Tony?
All right, mate. All right. 64.
Ooh,
again, back line did it this week, didn't it?
Yeah.
Thiago Silva taking the star man. I think it was last few minutes off Mendy. He had a great game, Thiago Silva, to be fair. Just touch on Diaz in your side. How the hell did he not get a 7 rating?
That is a very good question. Yeah.
Probably one of the best players on pitch, Diaz. Whole game.
Yeah, he was our most lively performer on the day.
Yeah.
Definitely out of the forward players, he was certainly the one that looked like he might do something.
Definitely had a great game. Good to watch him live like that as well. And yeah, put him into a couple of sides, so happy with that. Ederson 4 points. Rudiger and Silva obviously went early onto the Chelsea back line in this side. 8 and 13 points. Cancelo and Diaz 8 and 13 points as well, so plenty of points at the back. De Bruyne 3 points. Madison doesn't play until tomorrow night. Harvey Elliott, who did get on the pitch, didn't really do much. 0 points. Bowen 0 points. Sama, who I thought he had probably one of the worst games I've seen him play in quite a long time. Pretty much non-existent. 0 points. And Harry Kane doing the business again, twice in 3 games. 15 points. Happy days. 64 points. Happy with that. Decent return for this team. So I can keep on climbing.
Did you see Harvey Elliott's might be getting in trouble for picking up a flare off the pitch or something?
Oh, no, not seen that.
Missed that one.
He's picked a flare up and the FA are investigating about it. Started waving the flare about.
He was just celebrating by the sounds from what you've described. I think that'd be a bit harsh. It's much better than spitting chewing gum into a lower tier of the football. Do you hear about that?
No.
Simicast.
What did he do?
He was in the queue to get the. I don't know whether it was before or after. I only saw it briefly on Twitter, but he spat his chewing gum into the lower tier and say, "Of course, they caught it on camera." I mean, it doesn't look good, but
God.
I'm sure he'll apologise for that. But yeah, he's obviously excited. But it's a bit embarrassing.
Tradition in Greece.
They're smashing plates, mate.
They smash plates and that. They're a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. Right, chaps. That's all had decent scores there. Obviously, there's a few more games during the week, depending on what teams get put out in them cup games and stuff. But let's jump into these listener questions and let's delve through these. Connor Tobin's been on the Patreon. This week's questions are based around my catch-up team in the Family and Friends mini league. He's 45 points off the top and wanted advice from March. Maguire and Madison out for who? Shall I downgrade Edison to raise funds? Anyone I should prioritise? Thanks all. So his team's there for the people that aren't watching on YouTube, so you're just listening. I'll give you a quick readout of Connor's team, which is Edison in goal, Robertson, Cancelo, Van Dijk and Maguire, Bernardo Silva, Bowen, Madison, Salah, Kane and Jota up top. James, come to you first, mate.
Well, firstly, I'd like to say how, Connor, how are you losing to somebody that has Stefan as their goalkeeper? Yeah, I mean, he could swap Maguire for Liverpool's Diaz, but I notice his rival Nibot Rovers already has him. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If it's a good player, don't be afraid to bring him in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd be in a hurry to get rid of Madison. He's a bit streaky. I don't know, can it continue? But it may still getting the odd little haul here and there. I suppose you could drop Edison to Forster, save himself $2 million. That would enable him to upgrade Madison to Sterling or KDB if he really wants to upgrade Madison. That'd be a route for him. I would be inclined to switch Virgil van Dijk, who's 6.8 million, to Reece James or another Chelsea defender. That could raise you, 0.9 million. So there's some ideas there for you, mate. Yeah. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I had the Diaz. The Diaz moved down from Maguire to Diaz. Um, I'm pretty. The team is pretty good. So, like, Madison's got 5 fixtures next month.
Hmm.
You could probably sit on him. They've got Leeds, Rennes, Arsenal, Rennes, and then Brentford. But yeah, Man City's only got 4 games next month. You could do the Sterling move, like you say. Van Dijk, he's so expensive now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still pulling the points out, isn't he? So it's like, do you really want to take him out if he keeps getting the 8 points every week? Tricky one. He's getting the goals as well now.
That game was never a 0-0 game, was it? It should have been 4-4. A bit of better finishing.
Well, well, aren't they supposed to be fattening the lines or something for VAR?
Oh
Um,
God!
They're
how
supposed
many
to be.
how many goals did VAR rule out for like?
I think it was
I mean, the
three or
Chelsea one
four,
was
wasn't it?
really tight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they're denying goals that probably would have stood. Not a few years ago, like the ghost goal, from a few years ago when we played Chelsea. You boys remember that one?
The Luis Garcia one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably owe us one, really.
Yeah.
Liverpool are on for the quadruple now, aren't they?
Yeah, I, I reckon you look at the FA Cup lineup Klopp puts out, and I tell you what, I'd be amazed if it's not the kids.
Yeah.
I'd be
Definitely.
very surprised. It's on Wednesday, big day. Yeah, I just can't see him playing any of the big hitters. But we've got a stronger squad now, so we can. Bit like City, they can throw out their second string and still get through to finals. So maybe we're heading in that direction. I don't think we're as strong as they are yet, though.
Get in there, building nicely. Diaz
Yeah.
is a great sign, and you can see that.
Mm.
Mane just needs to stop sulking.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could understand his frustration when he got took off. Of thinking, why has he not took Salah off? If out of the two, Mane was still in that game. He was still looking dangerous.
Yeah.
I think Salah was the one that was anonymous. So I think the frustration is more of that. It's like, why me when I'm doing my bit? Him or there, your mate, your favourite. It's like that. It's like that petulant child bit, isn't it? Like he's your favourite, and it's
Well,
upsetting.
he came off for Jota, didn't he? And Mane was playing in the number 9 role, so it kind of made sense. I don't know.
It makes sense in that, but in his head,
Mm,
he's thinking, well, just whip Sal off,
yeah,
switch it around a little bit, put Yotta through middle, and put me down line. It's, take off your most ineffective player.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Back to your team, Connor. I think obviously judging by the two people that you're chasing, I'm probably going to bang on about this most at night. Is that you need to I'd attack it with the Chelsea block at the back. I'd probably go Maguire out, Ederson out, Van Dijk out, and I'd do Rudiger, Mendy, and Thiago Silva,
Mm,
and just go with all the three. I know you people that you're chasing. They've got like Trent and Robertson, so they've got a double up on Liverpool backline, depending on which way they go. Because it's one of them where because you're chasing, you're gonna have to do something a little bit different. If you're talking to them and with the Liverpool backline, they're doing all right. Liverpool, they like to say they're racking up the points that backline. So it's not so you don't fix something unless it's broken. But I think you've got to go a little bit different and go across to Chelsea probably before they do because Chelsea's fixtures are unreal.
mm.
And they've got the best run of fixtures. If you're looking at Liverpool's fixtures compared to Chelsea's fixtures, and you're talking clean sheets, I'd definitely go with Chelsea's.
It's only 45 points, though. Do you think you're probably a braver manager than I am, Tony? I'd still be like, oh, do I want to get rid of Trent? He's just a points machine, But you would go the full Chelsea backline, would you?
I just think I'd take the money out of Van Dijk
Yeah.
at 6.8 million. It's a lot of money, and it could drop quite easily as well when you're at that price bracket. I think Rudiger's decent money at 4.9. Obviously, City not having that many games with only the 4 games and stuff. Will Edison play the cup games as well? There's always that doubt about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Mendy might get rested for cup games, but I think Edison's more likely to. And then Thiago Silva's been an absolute beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think that. I think that's his option. I think that's a good shout to drag him back. Probably take him into the lead if he blocks it. He needs to block it though. You can't go half-arsed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pointless. Just pointless to like dripping one in. Like I say, Reece James as well. It's just Reece James, even though he's been out so long, he's held his price from about 5.9 million, isn't he?
He'll be going up again as well because he got a clean sheet.
Yes, yeah, that's it, isn't it? So it's one of them. That's my 10 pence worth, though.
Last week was the time to get on them from Man City, wasn't it? You've
Yeah.
got the 2 games, they're 2 clean sheets, and then they've got a clean sheet again this week.
The only thing that were save a few of the people that didn't jump off City early was the fact, obviously, transfers this week, but City got a clean sheet as well. If City had conceded, then it looked a bit shaky trying to get across onto them Chelsea defenders.
No, but I mean, last week Chelsea had 2 clean sheets to Man City's blank.
Yeah.
So it's like a 16-pointer on each defender if you got one.
Yeah, definitely. They were the points to be made, weren't they? But yeah, right. Moving on. Gazzy's right arm. Thoughts, guys, on transfers in my team going into March. Quite happy with it, apart from Pickford. Although, to be fair, he scored 10 points in the 3 games I've had him as an enabler. Do I need Chelsea? 0.9 budget. Ball bag 7. The team is Pickford, Matip, Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Bowen, Sterling, Salah and Kane. Ben?
Cracking team, that, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, even though he's playing with 10 men.
Yeah.
No, Pickford's all right. You can't expect much from a goalkeeper. If he's going to get you 10 points over 3 games, you'll be happy with that. 0.9 in the bank. I'd probably just stick with that him in goal, because unless you're going to be downgrading your defenders or your midfielders, but maybe you could go Bowen to Jota. Jota's back now, isn't he? That's probably the only one I could see there. Bowen's got extra games this month though, so could be tricky. But they are hard. It's Liverpool, Sevilla, Aston Villa, Sevilla, Tottenham, or an FA Cup quarter final. What do you think?
Well, I think I agree with Ben. I honestly, I'm not sure I would touch that team. It's well set up. I'd be tempted to save the transfers towards the end of the month. There might be opportunities during this month because obviously sides will go out of the FA Cup, possibly out of the Champions League, and then you'll be in a strong position to, switch sides if you like. Although it does look like I think most of the English sides probably will go through, but I suppose United's the potentially shaky one there against Atletico, but they managed to get a 1-1 away, didn't they? So it's not too bad for them. But yeah, no major files to put out there, I don't think. I mean, you could do the Bowen move, as Ben said. It looks like Jota's back, but I would keep your eye on team news because he was rushed back for that final.
Yeah. Didn't do much when he come on, did he?
No, he didn't have a lot of chances, I don't think.
At least we've got the midweek games and then West Ham play Liverpool, so you can see the lineups. If you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if Jota's back, then I will be bringing him back, and he looks good. I'll probably be bringing him back into a lot of my sides because I went 4 at the back in quite a few of them as a placeholder, if you like. So I can just switch. I brought Virgil van Dijk in to a lot of sides, but I can go straight from Van Dijk to Jota and back to a 3 at the back, 3 up top.
Plus, you got your profit off Van Dijk as well for
Yeah, he's actually
Yeah.
done really well. I nearly took him out of some sides. I was like, I'm in an iron before the cup final. Should I switch to Mane? I'm glad I didn't.
No.
Who was it who said? Was it Fergie who came on and said the best transfers are the ones you don't make? And I think someone told him that. So I'm passing on this wisdom that I've heard.
What about Mahrez benched again? 2 games running.
He's got to start in the FA Cup though, hasn't he?
You'd think so.
Surely.
You'd think so.
Take him out and he'll bite you.
I know. As soon as I've seen this team come up and I've just seen Mahrez there, sat there at 7.5 million.
So expensive though.
He is.
Cash cow.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're getting rid of him, Ben?
No.
No. Looking at that team, honestly, there's only really Pickford you'd want to upgrade, and you're just taking out someone who scores points, aren't you? It's littered with it. Like I just said earlier about if you've got the Liverpool bot line like that, Matip, Trent, Robertson, there's no need to switch. You can be gaining places with them 3. I think you need 3, don't you, to make any ground? I think.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
You only make a little bit of ground with 3, but I think you're well set. I think you should just hold your transfers, really. Unless you didn't fancy Mahrez. But I'm not recommending that because you know what happens. There's only a hat-trick way around the corner, isn't there? But, yeah, got a good team there. Good team there, Gaz. Gaz's right arm. There was one thing I wrote down. If you didn't want to move a little bit across to Chelsea, I did Robertson and Pickford out for Reece James and Mendy, but you'd have to fund that with Mahrez, and that's the crux of it, really. I mean, you'd still have the money for like a Diaz or a Mount, a Ziyech, a player like that, somebody decent, but Mahrez will buy on arse, I guarantee that. It says one of the top point scorers in games, so. But it's just an option if you did want to move across. Obviously, you could upgrade Pickford with his money, but yeah, keep it as it is, mate.
A few people talking about taking De Bruyne out as well, aren't there?
Yeah, because of the penalties thing, I think a lot. That's what I'm hearing behind that is the penalties, but
he hasn't been on penalties for a while.
No, and he's De Bruyne, isn't he? Loves the star man.
Yeah,
loves an assist, loves a goal. He always scores points. I think at 6.5 million compared to Mahrez, he's probably more value. I mean, even Sterling down at 5.2. But just, let's say, just looking at Mahrez's things there, and he's just littered with goals. He's just scoring. Doesn't matter. 13 minutes, 20 minutes. He plays 60 minutes. He's doing the business. Obviously not this week, but who's he got in Cup? Peterborough, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. He could have an absolute sack full if he plays this week. Yeah. Right. A nice short question next. Lee Hooper. Just a short question from me. Is Ronaldo finished? Short and sweet. Ben?
No. Ronaldo, no. No. He's not finished yet, but definitely not an option for next month. United only have 3 games guaranteed. So they've got Man City, Tottenham, Atletico Madrid in the second leg. And then, depending if Liverpool go through in the quarterfinals or not, if Liverpool go through, then they'll have a blank in game week 29. Dream Team game week 29. So, yeah, he's not an option for March for me. And he's so expensive, so you can shift a bit of funds around and make your team a bit stronger.
Yeah, I think they had the fixtures, didn't they?
Yeah.
Last month and the month before.
Yeah,
it's been quite a while, and he's just never took off, has it? And I'm happy that I think we were unanimous in saying like jumping away from Ronaldo. I think we all opted maybe for Kane or the Liverpool lads. Glad that didn't come back to bite us on ours because it could have done. Because he did have the fixtures, but he's been pretty poor. United have been shy as usual.
He was a bit unlucky at the weekend. You see his offside goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had some chances in that game, but he's just not putting them away, is he?
Yeah.
It's another one where, like you said, if they made the line a bit thicker, he would have been onside. But you could see he should probably a bit offside.
It
Probably
should have to,
right call.
it should have to be daylight. That was a better rule. Daylight. What advantage is it that his bloody right testicle is just 1 centimetre further forward? It's absolutely no advantage whatsoever. It's absolute tosh. We want to see goals. Just leave it alone. But yeah, what do you reckon, James? Finished?
Well, he's not performing to his price tag, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's averaging 2 points per game in the last 5. He's like I said, he's getting chances, but he's just not putting them away. He's not the same player as he was. There's no doubt about that. But that's to be expected. He's 37 now. He's too expensive in Dream Team, and he needs to be racking up way more points to justify his price tag.
Definitely. A little bit of glimmer of hope for United is that Sancho seems to have started to show his form that he obviously shown at Dortmund, where he was absolutely electric over there.
Yeah.
So that's
He was
good
dropped
to see.
against he was dropped against West Brom though, wasn't he? I noticed. Well, he made Ralph made quite a few changes to that lineup. Maguire didn't start, and obviously Sancho. I don't know what he's saving them for. I mean, there's plenty of rest before the Atletico. They don't play Atletico this week or something or anything like that. So that seemed a bit
There's
odd.
blank. Yeah.
Couldn't really figure out why, because Sancho's just getting into some form, and then he sticks him on the bench. I mean, that seems like a bizarre decision. With no, and I literally looked at the fixtures, thinking they must be playing Atletico again this week, but they're not. It's next week, so I don't know what he's playing out there, but
It's what Arsenal do with Lacazette, or used to do.
yeah,
You just bring it in. He finds a bit of form and then drop him.
yeah,
It's
madness.
Yeah, it is madness.
They've literally got one game in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Unless
suppose,
there was something else, unless he had a niggle, he
well, he might have done, I suppose.
might have had something picked up in training. Surely there's no other reason to have left him out the side, to be honest.
Shocker, not being able to beat West Brom, and that's West Brom are taking 4 points off Man United.
Watford.
Watford, James.
Sorry, Watford. Yeah, sorry, that's the brandy kicking in now. Monday night brandies. What a life!
Excellent. Yeah, Watford have been pretty poor, haven't they? Struggling. Ronaldo finish. He's still quality, and but like James said, he's just too expensive as an option in Dream Team when he's not cutting the mustard at the minute. But he's another player that's dangerous. He could probably hit some big holes, one after another. So he can come good. Right. DT Patrick. My question is, what should be the best team formation for March? I'm 4-3-3 at the minute. Will the march of the expensive wingbacks continue, or would a 3-4-3 prove better, concentrating on cheaper midfielders like Sterling, Silva, Diaz, and Maddison, who all have pretty high points ceilings? Cheers, boys. Keep up the good work. What do you reckon, Ben?
I think we had a question similar to this last week. James covered it pretty well. He said that you can't concentrate on a formation. Basically, you just got to go with the way the season's going, and things will pop up, and you'll end up changing formation all the time. I'm 4-4-2 at the moment, and I hate having a 4-2, but there's no strikers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's 4-4-2 in my pod team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Jota injury didn't it moved
Yeah.
everyone probably back to a 4-4-2.
But yeah, seems to be the defenders are really expensive now, and the midfielders are a decent price. Most of them, anyway. Still got the
Yeah,
expensive ones.
yeah. James.
Yeah, we did have a similar question to that. I've taken not a different take, but I've sort of I'm going to provide a different answer to what I provided. I think it was last week, and to try and get people to think differently. So I think actually any one of the available formations can be successful this year. This is probably the first year I would say that. Normally, you would definitely have three strikers, but
Yeah.
anyway, I think it all comes down to your budget, doesn't it? If you're looking at a 4.8, 4.9 million, you're looking at spending 4.8, 4.9 for a decent defender. Because I've looked through all the defenders, and I think the cheapest is probably like Rudiger at 4.9 that you would consider, stick him in. You're not going to want to take him out anytime soon. That's quite a lot of money. So there's a lot more. You could argue that when you get when your only defensive options start at 4.8, 4.9 million, well, perhaps you need to look at look at the value that you could get from if you've only got a budget of 3.5, for instance, you'd
Yeah,
be looking at Carl Walker. Well, is Carl Walker going to score more points than Luis Diaz, who's
yeah,
3.5 million? So I think what I'm trying to get at is you need to be flexible depending
yeah,
on your budget,
Yeah.
and if you if the value player that you need is in midfield, then you make sure you've got four midfielders.
yeah.
I think you've got to look at it like that and be flexible. I don't think you can say any one formation is better than the other at this point.
Yeah, budget is going to dictate it. Like you say, the defenders, the big hitters, the defenders are so expensive. Um, if you've got the budget, you can fit four in. Like you say, if you're going to be scratching around at 3.5 million for that fourth defender, why are you trying to have that? Why are you trying to have that fourth defender? Stick a
Yeah,
midfielder in who's got a higher ceiling.
I mean, could you boys name it other than Carl Walker, around 3.5 million below? Which defender would you put into your side? I
Do you
think,
know we had this on a couple of pods ago?
yeah.
Ben named one, and
Dawson.
He's good at that. Ben likes
he went
his
and
budget.
scored.
He's good at his budget pictures, Ben. He always thinks of
Dawson's
something
been
I
on.
don't.
Dawson's been on fire. He's had 2 goals and a clean
Yeah.
sheet in the last 3. He's
Yeah.
streaked.
Honestly, I sat there because we're that long after we'd done the pod, and you just see Dawson pop up with a goal, and you're like, pissing hell, Ben's at it again. He's there just picking these budget players coming from nowhere.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
great shout that was. But
He was 2.5 a couple of weeks ago. He's 3.3 now.
yeah, he's but again, it's completely understandable. Like you say, you'd move up. You'd either try and find a striker or a midfielder to fill it, rather than scrape around with a defender you don't really want or isn't really going to score you many. I went to the obviously highest point scorers throughout the game. I think it's been a similar theme all season. Where in the top 15 point scorers in the whole game, 8 of them are defenders, so over half of them are defenders. Which is obviously the year of the wing back in it. We've got only 3 midfielders on there in the top 15 point scorers and 4 forwards. So I think that indicates 4-3-3. But again, you've got to be flexible to your budget because it doesn't just because you got 4 defenders don't mean it's going to be anyone that's going to be scoring any points. If you've not got the budget to get them big hitters in. So obviously the teams that have the big budgets now, I've got a couple of squads that are up there with huge budgets that they can afford pretty much anybody. But you'd still struggle to have your Salah, Kane, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Cancelo, Trent. I don't know what the complete price would be of that. Even try to fit Reece James in there, and then a Rudiger and a Mendy. I mean, I don't even think it'd be able to do it. I'm not too sure. I'll have a look, but it must be huge. Must be huge, that money.
You're playing 6 at the back there, aren't you, Tony?
I was just saying, as regards to the prices, to try and fit them in to fit 4 of them in,
Yeah.
as well as your Salah, Kane, De Bruyne, Mahrez. I mean, you're not going to get them big hitters, are you? Not all
No,
of
it's
them anyway.
difficult to get them all.
So yeah, like I say, flexible with the formation. It's not too big. He's added another question as Patrick. With the extra Chelsea game in Game Week 28, which Chelsea players should be targeted? Cheaper Chelsea options too for those of us on a limited budget. We're talking budget. What do you reckon, James?
Well, it's worth pointing out that Chelsea have actually got to beat Luton on Wednesday, or Norwich have to beat Liverpool. I think Chelsea should beat Luton, and if that happens, then obviously Chelsea get that extra fixture. I certainly think the defence is worth targeting. Nice fixtures all right through to the end of May, although we're not sure who they're going to get in the Champions League, obviously. Reece James could be, the pick, really, if he's fit. Rudiger, Silva, Mendy, even Alonso, although I've got a feeling that Tuchel doesn't really like Alonso. He seems to trying to be desperate. Seems like he's desperate to try and find an alternative. In the midfield, Ziyech is the cheap pick, maybe Mount, I suppose. I've never been a massive fan of his. Sorry, Tony. Yeah.
Tell you what, he should have had a couple of goals, shouldn't he? Jesus Christ.
Oh, he missed a sitter, didn't he?
Oh, basically an open net. Open net, he put it against post. What's he doing?
Yeah.
I'll have a word.
Up front, I don't think I touched the forwards, although Havertz is looking half decent, but we've all been burnt by him before, haven't we?
Looked good, didn't he? He did all the link-up play. He played really well, Havertz. He had a really good game.
Yeah.
But you just know that he's going to get dropped next game with Lukaku, or he'll be moved out of position. And
yeah.
But, Ben?
Yeah, you pretty much covered it all there. One player you didn't mention, who I noticed started the final, was Chalobah, who's just come back from injury. 3.4 million. Obviously, we don't know if he's nailed, but because he's just come back, but he's very cheap, so keep an eye on him.
Christensen got injured, didn't he, as well? Was that in the warm-up or just before or something? So that's why Chalobah played, I'm sure.
I think Christensen might have got injured in training or something, and that's
I think
like you say, that's where Chalobah's in.
Yeah. So I mean that probably might cement his place a little bit, just for however long Christensen's out. You got to look at that injury, see what's happening there. As well, touching on Reece James, is Azpilicueta went off injured.
Yeah.
So that might, although Chelsea probably didn't want him, obviously they probably didn't want him on the pitch at all, maybe in that final. That might mean he's forced back quicker than maybe he wanted to. Might be one to watch. I had Chalobah down at 3.4 million. I think that's a very a good budget pick. Havertz 3.7, Ziyech and Mount both at 4.3. Decent options. I mean, if you're playing 4-4-2 anyway at the minute, Havertz, if he does get a run of games, is an option as a third striker.
There's literally no other strikers.
No,
at the start of the season, we would have said, don't pick Havertz because he's taking up a striker place.
Yeah.
But because there's no strikers standing out, you don't mind putting him in.
That's it. Yeah. It's one of them where if you're going to go 4-4-2 anyway, are you looking for a budget midfielder? He might be your option just to play a striker up there. Thiago Silva at 5.2 million is the top Chelsea point scorer on 157 points this season. He's out an absolute blinding season.
Surely he's due a rest, isn't he?
38-year-old.
Is he 38?
Well, he might be 36. I thought he was 38. He's old. I say he's old. Bloody hell, he's not much older than me, but you know what I mean. In terms of football, at centre half, he's so good as well. So good. Play like the way he did the other day in the final against Liverpool. At that age, rolling back the years. Yeah, there's some good options for you there, Patrick. Right, Andy Boyner. I have a challenge question. some teams that have done badly up until now, but still have a chance for monthly prizes. Can you make a strong team using players no higher in value than 5 million? This will hopefully give those with squad values of less than 55 million a good idea going forwards. I like it. I like it, Andy. Yeah. So what do you reckon, Ben?
Right, I've picked a team, and I've only spent 43.6 million because he said don't spend more than 5 million on a player. So I start with the goalie Mendy 4 million, Rudiger 4.9 million, Alonso 4.8 million, Matip
Wow.
4.7.
Go
Hey,
on. Go on, next one.
Matip 4.7 million, Ziyech or Ziyech 4.3, Bilva 4 million, Luis Diaz 3.5 million, Mane 4.7, and Havertz 3.7 million.
I like it. James?
Well, first of all, I'd say given your budgetary constraints, Andy, then 4-4-2 is the only formation that makes sense. Yeah, I've gone Allison 4.4. Then I think it's the same, exactly the same defense as Ben. Rudiger, Alonso, Laporte, and Matip. In midfield, Bowen, Bilva, Madison, and Diaz. And up front, bit of a wild card in here as well. I've got Mane and Vardy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't have Vardy,
Good
Ben.
shout.
He's 4.1 million. He's back. I think he's back in
Back
training
tomorrow.
now.
Yeah, he's back tomorrow.
Um, and given that there really is a massive lack of forwards in that budget, I just had a look through and I just thought, you know what? If you wanted to have a little punt, he could come back firing, couldn't he? You never know.
It might be what they need.
Yeah. Well, I think they needed
Need a
a
miracle.
defender
Well,
or two, but
they might play him at centre half. Although Fafana's back in training, isn't he?
Yeah.
yeah.
So he might come to rescue him.
Give me hope, Fofana. Hope, Fofana.
I went Mendy, Rudiger, Matip, Alonso, Diaz,
Slight.
Ziyech, Bowen. Bowen's at 5 million. That's allowed, isn't it? Madison, Mount, and then Mane and the forgotten man, Antonio, up
Oh
top.
God,
No.
no, not
The
Antonio.
forgotten man.
He's fallen off a cliff. That
He
boy.
should have had a couple of weekends, shouldn't he?
Somebody's
3.2
been
million.
saying that for weeks.
he has. He has. He sat and watched the interview as well before the game about how he still believes in himself. He just needs one. I just need one. I'm going to go on a run. He said, but he's just getting that one. Brilliant.
Did you see that he had a chance where the ball's coming down for him for a volley and someone like got in the way and he was like, no.
I would not be surprised if he does go on a run. He is one of those players, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
last was it last year or the year before he got like a hat trick or 4 goals in one game or something
Yeah, a
ridiculous.
couple of
Yeah.
years ago against Norwich.
And that was near the end of the season, wasn't it? And I remember some people in captaining in FPL. I think Andy, let's talk FPL. Andy captained him, and it's legendary, isn't it? But,
Yeah.
trying to catch that run of form though,
Mm,
that's going to be not easy, is it?
not really. No.
Not looking great at the moment, are they, West Ham?
No. But, I mean, they should have had a few more at weekend. They played all right. Bowen. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about getting rid of Bowen now, isn't there? I don't know if we touched on one of the questions, but I'll touch on Bowen shortly. But right, David 87 has been on the Patreon. 35 points clear in his mini league, 1.7 million in the bank, 0 transfers. What would your transfer strategy be for March with this team? His rough thought: losing Diaz and Bowen, maybe for Diaz at Liverpool and Reece James. Also thinking maybe Mahrez to Kane. Cheers, lads. His team is, for the people listening rather than watching, got Edison in goal, Trent, Cancelo, Robertson, Diaz, Mahrez, Sterling, De Bruyne, Bowen, Mane, and Salah up top. What do you reckon, James?
Well, I like the DS to Reece James move. He's got enough money to do that with zero point 0.2 million spare. So yeah, that's I think that's a pretty decent call. I do think Kane is essential, but in an ideal world, you wouldn't really want to sacrifice Mahrez to fund it. But if I had to choose between the two, I would go Kane over Mahrez. But like I said, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to get rid of Mahrez. Um, I'm I'm undecided on Bowen. West Ham's fixtures do look tricky, but yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence with Bowen. I would like your thoughts. I know you just mentioned it, Tony, but
I'll,
I just wrote down. I really don't know what to do with Bowen at the moment.
it's a good time for me to pipe up then.
It might be
Um,
Tony. I think. Yeah.
so the next fixtures, as you say, they are tricky. They've got Liverpool, Sevilla double header. Sandwich in between that is Villa, Spurs, Everton, then Brentford. Obviously, gets a little bit easier. But just looking at what Bowen did in the reverse fixtures against these sides,
Mm.
obviously Sevilla is I can't touch on that, but in the Premier League, so he scored against Spurs in the reverse fixture and Villa. He scored. He had 2 assists against Liverpool in the reverse fixture.
Mm.
He had an assist versus Everton, and he scored against Brentford. So if you take out the Sevilla games, he's returned in all 5 of them other games in the reverse fixture. So although they're tricky fixtures, and I know probably West Ham were probably playing a little bit better at that time. I know that they had a great performance against Liverpool. I think he's a keep. At 5 million on the form he's in. I think I'm not gonna be taking him out. I'm gonna keep him Bowen, even for that run of fixtures. I think they've got one of the most fixtures, haven't they?
5
They d-
fixtures, yeah.
yeah, so they double, don't they? Both weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a keep for me.
The only thing is, the Liverpool game is away and the Spurs game is away, so I don't know. You might.
Sometimes that can favour West Ham as well, though, because
Yeah.
they do play pretty well on counter. They do counter
Mm.
pretty well, and obviously Bowen with his pace, Antonio with his pace. Yeah, I fancy him. I fancy him for them fixtures. I fancy him to. It might be even the ones where Antonio does bang. I'm not going to push it that far, but I think keeping Bowen, yeah, for me, I would keep. What do you reckon, Ben?
It's tricky because the fixtures aren't very good for me. But like you say, on the counter, that they could do them. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because Bowen's been brilliant this season. Mahrez has been brilliant, but Kane is nailed in that team.
Yeah,
So I think he needs Kane in there. Like Mahrez isn't playing every week, so you could go Mahrez straight to Kane, or you could go Bowen to Kane and then downgrade his goalkeeper to a bit cheaper. Could go to Jose Sarr, or even cheaper, just go Lloris, so he gives you an extra million to spend somewhere else. But yeah, I think you need Kane in there, but it's up to you what you want to do there.
it's risky, isn't it?
Mm,
Mahrez, Kane. Like you say, if you're choosing between the two, you go Kane, but you don't want to remove Mahrez to make that move.
yeah,
Uh,
KDB's more nailed, isn't he?
yeah, I mean, he could go Robertson to Kane. Could he not 6.9 in Kane?
Yeah,
What's
6.9.
Robertson 5.4?
Yeah,
Is he 5.4?
He is 5.4.
so he could
Yeah.
afford that.
Robertson to Kane.
And the thing is, Liverpool's got more fixtures than Man City, haven't they?
He's not at Man City.
No, I'm saying Liverpool's got the Liverpool
All
defenders
right.
more fixtures
He
than
never signed. Yeah, I get what you're
because you've
saying.
got
Sorry, mate.
he's got Ruben Diaz there who's
Yeah,
trickles along and he gets the odd goal, but he's only 4.4, so there's not really a lot of money there to play with, really.
but Robertson to Kane, Edison to Lloris.
Mm.
Would that? Not sorry, Diaz to Kane,
Yeah, and then
Edison.
Edison to Lloris could do
Is
that.
that
Yeah,
is that doable on them funds there? What was he get out of the Edison to Lloris? What price is Lloris?
2.8. Edison's 4, so that's 1.2, and
2 point.
Diaz
Yeah,
4.4. You could do it, yeah.
it's doable. Then you get to
Mm.
keep your couple of Liverpool lads, keep Mahrez, keep Bowen as well. I think we just talked to a decent move there. Edison
Bowen,
Diaz.
Bowen was unlucky not to score against Wolves as well.
Yeah,
Like if he scored again, we'd be going, "Oh yeah, keep."
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
just because he's had a couple of blanks now, and the fixtures are toughening up. But West Ham do play better on the counter, like you said.
yeah, yeah. I think he's a hold. I think he's a man on form.
And
He's a
he's a
man who,
star man magnet as well.
yeah, yeah. I'll be keeping that. Hopefully, there's some decent ideas for you there, David. Next up, Liam Webb, 1.2 million in the bank. Any opinions on transfers? He's got Edison in goal, Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, Rudiger, Sancho, Bowen, Madison, De Bruyne, Daka, your mate, and Salah. What do you reckon, Ben?
I think Daka's going to lose his place
Yeah,
when Vardy's back. So I'm looking there and I'm thinking Sancho, tough fixtures, not many games. I think he's got to go, but where do you go to?
yeah,
Kulusevski, 2.3 million. He's looking quite tidy. 2 goals, an assist.
not a bad start, has he?
Yeah. And he hasn't lost his place to Moria, even when they lost to Burnley, he didn't get dropped the next game. Kept
Yeah,
him in, which is good to know. Edison again, it just a bit of a cash cow. You could sell him, drop him down. It's a cheaper keeper. Forster, 2 million. Pickford, 1.8. Prefer Forster at the minute with the fixtures, and Southampton look a bit more solid. And I'd try and get Daka to Kane.
yeah,
I think you can do that with them transfers, with those free transfers.
yeah. James?
Daka's got to go, hasn't he? Yeah, Vardy coming back. He's probably going to lose his place, like Ben said. Daka's 3.3 million and combined that with 1.2 in the bank only gives you 4.5.
Yeah.
Literally, there are, unless you went Vardy, which I said earlier, which I wouldn't recommend. That only gives you
What do you
4.
mean? You just put him in your team.
There's literally no striker options in that budget. So what you could do is drop KDB to Sterling to save yourself 1.3 million. That would then give you enough money if you did that, then you'd be able to do bring in Jota or Sonny as a direct replacement for Daka, because you'd have 5.8 million.
Yeah. Well, who's in KDB, but obviously
Yeah,
upgrading
Sterling's not a bad
Daka.
replacement though, I think.
No, he isn't.
Yeah.
He isn't. I had. I don't know what my problem is with Robertson at the minute, but I seem to be wanting to remove him from every team that I see. Because I also I was looking at the Kane to Daka move and then trying to fund it and going through the team, and obviously I'm thinking I don't want to touch Bowen. Madison, I think is a hold for now. I think Leicester have got quite a lot of fixtures to come. Not just in obviously with the Europa Conference, although that's a bit of a shambles scoring wise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, it's, it's a bit of an annoyance that, but with the Premier League games as well that need rearranging, I think they're probably going to be doubling most weeks now until end of season. So I looked at Robertson out, and then Kane in for Daka, and then Robertson out left you 3 million for a defender, and instantly I was looking for Dawson. Where's Dawson? But obviously he's gone up to 3.3. West Ham obviously having quite a lot of fixtures. I thought I think Soufal was out injured again, is he not?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And Ben Johnson looks a great little player at right back. And he's pretty cheap, 1.8 million, I think he is. Or
Tough
whether we're
fixtures though for West Ham. I think they've got
yeah,
a
they
few.
have defensively, I really touch it. And then obviously another option, cheaper option, Wan-Bissaka. I think he got star man at weekend, did he?
Yeah.
He stole a star man. He's got himself back into the team. Delort obviously um, has been kicked back onto subs bench. He's 2.6 million, but again, United's fixtures are great. And
Doing the old
but
wing back okey cokey, isn't he?
yeah, yeah, they
That's
seem to be. We like Tellez and Shaw as well on the other side.
yeah.
I'd rather have Eric Dyer than a Man United fullback. I think
Yeah, Eric Dyer, good
he's
shout.
nice and cheap.
Yeah. I think even the Spurs were doing the Yorkie Corky with their wing backs, haven't they? I think did they play Doherty and Sessegnon at weekend rather than Region and Royale?
Some value there if they get a run of games. Doherty's 1.5 million. Got 15 points at the weekend. First
Doherty's
Spurs goal.
played quite a few, hasn't he, recently?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see that. I mean, at that money, you go Doherty in for Robbo, and then you got Kane in for Daka.
Sessegnon's only 1 million. Ben Davis is a bit more nailed. He's 1.7.
Is he playing as the left centre half?
Yeah. You haven't got any other left centre halves either.
Yeah, some good options there. Like I say, trying to get Kane into that side, I think, at the expense of Daka, it's a big jump. So you are going to have to sacrifice somewhere. The keeper, to Lloris, like Ben says, is probably a most sensible option. Or obviously De Bruyne to Sterling's it's not that big of a downgrade, really. Sterling's quite potent, isn't he?
Doherty's played 3 of the last 4 games, and we know what for his potential was when he was at Wolves a while back.
Oh, magic, weren't it?
Yeah, I don't think Emerson Royale's cutting the mustard, is he? And I think it looks like Doherty might have cemented his place a little bit more there. Still a bit of a risk, obviously, but
Are you trying to get me to put Doherty into my FPL team?
well, you never. Well, at that price, he could be gold, couldn't he?
He could definitely.
They took off Sessegnon as well on Saturday, and they put Doherty at left wing back and played Emerson Royale at right wing back. So that was quite interesting. Instead of bringing on Reguilon.
Mustn't fancy him. Right. Ash has been on at Patreon. 107. You're 170 points behind third place. Who's the 5 transfers you're making to make up a bit of ground? There's his team: Ederson, Laporte, Maguire, Cancelo, Van Dijk, Silva, Bernardo Silva, Sancho, Madison, Son, Salah, and Kane. Go on, James. What do you reckon, mate?
Well, if you're 170 points behind, I think you're going to have to take some risks. That's quite a. It's not impossible, but it's a big gap to close. Where we are in the season, I think you're going to have to go block Chelsea defence, get in there before anyone else. And as a massive Chelsea fan, you're probably not going to be too upset with that advice. I think. I don't think everyone else. You've got to think about what other people will do as well. I don't think many people will go block Chelsea. They might start moving towards it tentatively until they see a few more clean sheets. But if you've got the balls to do it now, or sorry, if you haven't got any chances left, then obviously it's beginning of the month. With that 170 point gap, you're gonna have to get in before other people. I think is my answer. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, completely agree. I think that gap's so wide, it needs cutting quickly. So you need to be quicker than the other players. You need to be getting onto the Chelsea train. A way of doing it, I've just had a look at is you could go. I hope my maths is right on this. Maguire to Thiago Silva, Laporte to Rudiger. You could go Edison straight across to Mendy, same price, and then to fund those backline changes, you're looking at Van Dijk to possibly Sterling, which would give you a Chelsea block at the back with Mendy, Rudiger, Thiago. He managed to keep Cancelo as well. And obviously you're acquiring Sterling as well, who's got quite a high ceiling. Gives you something to attack. It gives you something a bit different at the back. If Chelsea keep racking up these clean sheets and this good batch of fixtures, you could soon eat into that 170 points and then reassess. Yeah, and obviously if you wanted to go whole hog, I mean, and use your final transfer and just go basically just go gung ho. Yeah, you could look at maybe risking the Chalobah move, obviously with his cheaper price tag at 3.4 million. You reckon, Ben?
Yeah, pretty good. That I like that. Yeah, agree with you.
Good stuff. I think the Chelsea backline is the way to go with that.
Definitely.
Right, a little one off the cuff, Kerry. I know it was a late question from Kerry Jones on Twitter. Which three forwards would you have for the remainder of the season if you have had to lock in at the start of March? James.
That's pretty easy for me. Salah, Kane, and Jota for me.
Yeah.
Same, mate. Same.
And that's a full house. Salah, Kane, Jota. Have a nice and easy, Kerry. No difference of opinions there either. Right, that's it for the questions. Now let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the leagues. Let's see what's going on in the league tables. So first up, we've got the the Dream Team Tonic top 12.
Here we go.
I'll read it out. And it'll just be the top 10.
Here we go. Go on then, James.
Right in
12.
in 10th, only 3 points ahead of me. Is it's Alex Cole. In 9th, we've got Ben Lee.
Hallelujah!
He's here.
I've made it.
He's made the
I've
party.
made it. I'm here, mum.
In 8th, 2 points above Ben, we've got Anthony Sutcliffe.
Hey, we're here.
In 7th, we've got Niles Koopman. In 6th, we've got Niles Koopman. And in 5th, we've got Andrew Ferguson. 4th, Dan Sherwood. 3rd, Heath Robson. 2nd, Steve Legg. And at the top, we've got Alex Cole.
Flying, a 40-point gap up there now.
Yeah. Dan Sherwood was up there for a long time with Alex Cole, wasn't he? But he's dropped away a little bit.
Shows things can change quite quickly too. So that's the cash league, obviously. Well done to Aman Tatler, who won the Game Week 25 £50 cash prize for the biggest score in Game Week 25. So well done to you, mate. Obviously, we'll sort that cash for you. Across to the DT Tonic Patron League, top 10. I think it's my job to read this out. I'm not making an appearance anytime soon on here. I accidentally put my pod team into this one. I don't know why. I did it. I forgot to change it. So, well, here we go. Top 10. In 10th, Paul Young Guns. In ninth, Andrew Barnett. In eighth, Sean Siddall. In seventh, Connor Tobin. In sixth, James Fricker.
Yes, come on.
In fifth, Michael White. In fourth, David Dunkley. In joint second, Paul McNally and Stephen Broughton. And top of the shop, very own Ben Lee.
Come on.
Flying high, mate. Nice little 27-point cushion there at top. Doing good. Doing good, mate. Right. We've not touched on the ins, outs, and 1Ks for a few weeks. Obviously, bumper episode on a transfer time. So let's go through it. Top 1K ownership, James. How's it looking, mate?
Well, no surprises at the top with Mohamed Salah in 95% of teams. In second, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold in 90% of teams. Harry Kane, 77% of teams. João Cancelo, 73% of teams. And Andrew Robertson, who was nowhere near the top not that long ago, in 71% of teams.
Massive rise. Any surprises on there? I can't see any.
You wouldn't expect there to be on the top 1K ownership, would you really? That's why they're in the top 1K.
You wouldn't think so. Right, most transferred in since the 21st of Feb. Top of the shop, Mane, with 18,000 transfers in. Maybe they were just as upset as he was about coming off that pitch, throwing things around and stuff. Salah, 8,500 transfers in. Another new Liverpool lad, make it the top three. Diaz, with 5,000 transfers in. Ziyech, who sadly didn't make the game this weekend, 4,500 transfers in. I'm hoping he's back fit for next weekend, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. And Kane, 4,000 transfers in. I'll tell you a surprise that is on there, just further down that list, is Weghorst.
Yeah.
FPL players picking him.
A very FPL move.
And Breyer.
Yeah. He done half of good, that Breyer, though. Good player. Go on then, Ben. The latest outs. Who's been kicked out of the sides? Any big hitters?
Well, Jota, he's 15,000 teams have kicked him out, and he's just come back for an appearance off the bench. So that must mean he's fit to play next weekend. Oh, probably play midweek, won't he?
Yeah.
Mason Mount, 12,000 people have kicked him out, and he's come back as well. Lukaku, he's just crap. 6,000. Get him out. Saying that, he's a bit of a flat track bully, isn't he? And he's got a nice run of fixtures now, but he isn't starting at the moment, so I wouldn't advise to buy him until you see him starting a few games.
Yeah.
And scoring, obviously. Ronaldo, nearly 7,000 transfers out. 7.5 million, obviously cash cow, isn't he?
A lot of money.
A lot of money and horrible fixtures for the next month coming up. And Antonio, 3.2 million, 2.8 thousand transfers out.
He might end up under 3 million this weekend.
He got an assist, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did. Sorry, he did get an assist. Yeah,
he might just stay the same.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he was trying his hardest to score.
Oh God, yeah,
trying too hard probably.
But to be fair to him, when he got in some decent positions where other strikers might have had a do, he was quite unselfish at some points.
Yeah, he was
squaring the ball, so it wasn't like he were completely desperate in making complete wrong decisions because of it. That's it. Yeah, he's. I like him. I like Antonio. It's just, just let me down a few times this season. But yeah, the differential league. Obviously, this month's finished. We will get the update out on Twitter for that for during this week, and we will then get the votes up for the next differential pick for the community. We'll get Connor to sort that out. and we'll have our picks. James, I think you got relegated to last, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, I've had a massive fall from grace, Tony. Some some shocking differential picks. I believe I will be picking after the community.
You will this week. And
Yeah.
then Ben.
Who was your pick, James?
Well, last month,
Yeah.
um,
It wasn't a bad pick.
it was it. I can't remember now.
I'm getting it up now.
Was it Daka?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Dakar, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. The best thing I was saying last week. The best thing about Daka is his song, Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not singing it again.
yeah. Robertson for you, Ben. Was it?
Yeah, another 8 points. That
Laporte
time I
for
had a good
me.
pick.
Mahrez for the community. That's
Yeah.
slowed him down. So yeah, I think it's been an interesting one. Obviously, we've only got 3 more picks left each, so we'll see what comes of that. Yeah, if you obviously, I'm going to plug the Patreon Cup again because it's going to be a great little tournament, be a good laugh. So if you've not joined the Patreon yet, get across to patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. Get yourself signed up. Your £3, your £3 sign up to the Patreon will get you entry to the cup as well, and it will get you all the good the bonuses that you get with the tier that you join. So get into that, get involved. Thanks for listening. It's our pleasure as always, and good to have you both with us. Shame Fergie couldn't make it this week, but I'm hearing rumours he's on next week.
Believe so. Yes.
So yeah, we'll have Fergie on next week. So we'll get his take on how he's attacking the month of March. But yeah, great to have you both with us on this Monday evening. Now our new date for every other week. Yeah, cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Good
everyone.
pod.